I'm Cooper Hopkins. I'm fourth generation here at Hundley Farms, and we're celebrating our 50th anniversary. We were founded in 1969, and we've been farming in the Glades since 1935. At Hundley Farms, we grow sugarcane, sweet corn, green beans, radishes, and cabbage, but today we'll be focusing on sweet corn. Palm Beach County grows more sweet corn than anyone else in the country. We start planting in September. We'll harvest all the way through the end of May. So my great-grandfather started farming out here in 1935, and then my grandfather started farming after him, and he founded Hundley Farms, which is where I work, and they've been growing sweet corn out here since then. Here in the Glades, we have a very unique soil. It's a really almost jet black muck soil. It's very, very rich in nutrients, and it's a heavy soil that is really, really good for growing crops. Even though we have excellent soil quality here, we still have to do a lot of work to ensure that the plants have as many nutrients as they need. So we'll add fertilizers and other things to help make sure the plant has enough food to grow. To plant sweet corn, first we get the land prepared, and then we use a planter that plants 8 rows at a time, and that's how we plant all of our sweet corn here. The seed that we plant is a dried up kernel of corn, the same thing that you would eat, and we have 3 different varieties. It's a yellow, a white, and a bicolor, which is a blend of the two. Sweet corn requires a lot of maintenance from the time that it goes in the ground to the time it harvested. Some of it is natural, like sunlight and rainfall, but the rest of it we've got to do ourselves. Is keeping the weeds out of the field and making sure that everything is perfect for when we come in there and harvest it. It varies how long it takes sweet corn to grow depending on the temperature. It's usually between 70 to 80 days, and the warmer it is, the quicker it is. The colder it is, the slower it is. A fully grown corn plant is usually about 4 to 5 feet tall, and it'll have 2 ears on it. The top ears are usually a bigger, fuller ear, which is what we'll harvest to eat, and the bottom one usually isn't developed enough to use. Sweet corn is a self-pollinating plant. So what that means is whenever the wind blows, the tassels, which release the pollen, blow through the field, and then they catch onto the silks, which are at the top of the cob, and each one of those silks represents one of the kernels of corn, and that's what fertilizes the corn, and once it gets fertilized, it begins to swell until it's finally ready to be harvested. So when you shuck in your corn, if you look at it and you don't see that all the kernels are filled out, and if there's holes or some of them that aren't bright and shiny, that means that that kernel didn't get pollinated properly. Here in the Glades, we use a series of canals for our irrigation, and what we'll do is raise the water levels in the canals, and the water will seep across the field, and then the soil will absorb it up to bring water up to the roots of the plants. And if it gets too wet, we do the opposite, we bring down the canals, and that'll help to dry out the fields. Here in the Glades, we grow mostly sweet corn, whereas in the United States, we have 2 varieties. We have sweet corn and field corn. And sweet corn is the really super sweet varieties that are tender and they're perfect to eat fresh. And then field corn are the varieties that they grow a lot in the Midwest that use for cornmeal and for cattle feed and stuff of that nature. So when we hand harvest corn, we have a big conveyor belt that goes through the field with almost 30 pullers. And they pull the ear off the stalk, put it on a conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt carries it up an elevator that puts it into a trailer, and the trailer is what we haul up to the packing house to be processed. So some of the advantages of hand harvesting are you're a little more delicate when you're handling the product, and also sometimes the corn stalks get blown around in the field, and if they're not perfectly straight, you can't bring a mechanical harvester through there, but you can have a hand crew walk through and they can pull the corn. So our mechanical harvesters pull 4 rows of corn at a time, and they cut the stalk off at the bottom, and 2 conveyor belts grab the stalk. It goes between 2 rollers, which plops the ear of corn off. It goes on another conveyor belt that carries it out of the harvester and puts it into a trailer that we haul out of the field and up to the packing house. After the corn's taken out of the field, we put it on a semi-trailer and we haul it up to the packing house where we begin to process it at the packing line. When a truck first arrives at the packing line, we offload it onto conveyor belts, which carry it into the line, where at first it goes through a series of graders, and they pull out all the trash and any ears that aren't going to meet quality standards. And it goes down a shaker, which levels it out, and then it goes down a slide, so it goes in front of all the packers, and they're putting 48 ears in every box. Occasionally, whenever we're harvesting the corn, some of the second ears, the smaller ears, and also leaves and stalks and other sort of trashy items, and make it into a load of corn. So the graders, their job is to pull that out so it doesn't make it into the box. And when that goes off the line, it goes onto our trash belt, which that puts it in a big hopper, which dumps into trailers that usually people come and pick up for cattle feed and other things. After the corn is done being graded, it goes down a conveyor and it puts it in front of the packers. The packers are each in charge of putting 48 ears in every single box they pack. And that's the important part of it, is having the exact same amount in every box. Then they slide it down to the stackers, and that's another important part of the packing line, is you get a perfect stack, perfect amount of corn in every single box, so it's perfect for quality control. The reason the graders are looking for the highest quality is because that's our goal as a company, is to ensure that we're getting the highest quality package that we can. So we make sure that every grader puts exactly 48 ears in a box, and when they're done with it, they get a perfect stack on the pallet, so everything is exactly how it needs to be for the customer. After the corn is done being packed and stacked, a forklift comes and picks it up and carries it over to the staging area for the hydrocooler. So once the corn's in the staging area, every single box is marked and tagged so we can know exactly when it was packed, exactly where it was packed, and exactly what it was packed with and by who. So for traceability, we know exactly where the corn came from at all times. We run the corn through the hydrocooler because when it comes out of the field, it's usually very hot. It's hot here in South Florida, so corn can be as much as 80 or 90 degrees. When we put it in the hydrocooler, it goes in basically a shower of ice water. It's usually 35 to 40 degrees. And that begins to cool the corn down, get it wet, and wash it before we put it into the cold boxes where it needs to stay cold from now until it's sold. Once the corn is in the hydrocooler, it usually stays in there for around 40 minutes, and the target is to get the corn down below 40 degrees before a forklift comes and picks it up and carries it into the cold box, where at that point it's kept in a room. It's usually around 38 degrees, and that'll keep the corn cold until it's put on a truck to be shipped out. We package corn in a variety of different ways. As far as crates, we use wooden crates, plastic crates, and environmentally friendly eco crates. And we're really trying to push towards those nowadays. They're becoming much more popular. And then also we do our value added product, which is basically a tray pack, which is a foam tray with shucked ears and a clear saran wrap over the top. For the corn in the tray pack, we cut the ends off so every ear is exactly the same length. We take the husk off, so you don't have to worry about shucking it. So whenever it gets home to you, you take it out of the package and you can put it right in water and boil it, and it's ready to cook. The reason we do the value-added tray pack is because it's very popular in the grocery stores. People like seeing what they're buying. They like being able to look through a clear wrap, exactly what the corn looks like. You can really see the quality, so whether it's white or yellow or bicolor, and you know what you're buying. All of our packages are packed specifically for certain clients, so we know certain people like them in tray packs, certain people like them in a wooden crate, certain people like them in a plastic crate, so we'll do whatever the customer wants based on who their customers, the buyers, in the end, what they want. So that's why we pack in so many different ways. We send our corn to Pioneer Growers Cooperative. And a cooperative is a group of farmers that come together to share resources such as the packing house and the hydrocooler and the cold boxes, which are too expensive for one farm to pay for on their own. We split the costs and let everybody else in the cooperative share and take advantage of these resources. So our main advantage here in South Florida when growing sweet corn is that we can grow corn when the rest of the country can't, which is in the winter and spring. When it's 30 degrees in New York, it's 65 and sunny down here, which is perfect temperature for growing corn. Here in Palm Beach County, we're proud to be the sweet corn capital of the world. We produce so much sweet corn in a year that each ear is about a foot long, and if you lay them end to end, they stretch around the world 3 times. And even though we produce that much corn in a year, our main goal is still to provide the highest quality, best tasting sweet corn for you and your family. I'm proud to be a 4th generation farmer here at Hunley Farms, and I hope to continue our legacy and keep us growing sweet corn for many years to come.